This is RTV6 News at 5:30, working for you.
And now at 5:30, stepping up how one company is not only continuing to pay its employees during the pandemic, but providing other key support as well. In summer safety, the uptick in injuries that doctors say are entirely preventable, not in kids, but adults. Chris.
Here's what we're talking about today in our lineup. There are questions about health insurance coverage for people who are protesting, how you can make sure you're protected. Now, COVID-19 has forced big brothers, big sisters to rethink how they mentor kids, how they're adapting to make sure that kids are getting the support they need, especially right now. And with cases rising, well, is now the right time to offer a travel tax credit? The two other reasons this concerns some health experts.
And first at 5:30, the Rebound Indiana is focusing on tackling the big issues you face as you seek to recover from the pandemic. And food insecurity is a major issue. Some families are turning to food banks or church pantries. Many employers are stepping up. At RTV6, we are following 6 people in the hospitality industry, which is among the hardest hit. RTV6's Rafael Sanchez shows us one company's effort to feed employees and make sure they are doing okay.
The vehicles lined up.
I got you, Rojas. How you doing?
As the tables were set with boxes of food.
Seeing people kind of get laid off and stuff like that's really scary.
Take care. Yep.
Crystal Catering, unable to host major luncheons, galas, or fundraisers in Indianapolis, was forced to send many people home.
Thank you.
But not without a care package filled with food and toilet paper to help during this crisis.
It's going to help a lot.
Jamie Smith is a college student with plans of becoming a nurse. Her dad is the only one working. Her mom is on disability. So this outreach is a much needed safety net.
It's already kind of hard getting resources, and since the grocery stores were already packed and like shelves are still like completely empty.
Alicia, be safe. I got you, Amanda. You got rice, right?
This was also about checking in with a workforce that's like family. The chef says he's on the phone with his people to check in and to talk about cooking.
You want to make a recipe, you want to utilize what you got home. You know, I can show you how to make bread. I can show you how to make soup from potatoes or frozen vegetables. You know, I can turn anything you have in your freezer to anything that you can eat.
The boxes served all those who are now anxious for the return of their brand of Hoosier hospitality. Working for you, Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
And Crystal Catering provided care packages for nearly 100 people. They were also able to pay employees through the Paycheck Protection Program. Kevin.
It's all about temperatures for most of us. I'll show you a couple spots that you may need to close the lid on the grill if you're cooking out this evening. Temperature 79 in Logansport, 76 in Marion. The humidity is low. That's why I'm not expecting widespread rain this evening, but we do have a few pockets around to talk about. Temperatures down to the south, 82 in Bedford. In western Indiana, right along Interstate 74, either side of 74, west of Crawfordsville, already passed through Covington and Williamsport. Nice little downpour crossing 41 near Veedersburg. Other areas of rain coming into Vermilion County in the western portion of the state. Between 7 and 11, these little pop-up showers. They basically will cover very little in the way of real estate. Temperatures tomorrow morning, with dry conditions, start out comfortably. Enjoy tomorrow morning because most overnight lows will be much warmer than that, as you'll see unveiled as we work our way through the next several days.
Senate Democrats have blocked a GOP bill on police reform, saying it doesn't go far enough. The Republican bill focuses on incentivizing states to take action. Democrats have called for national standards on things like body cameras and chokeholds. Well, while the race to develop a safe coronavirus vaccine is on, there's some new evidence that other vaccines that we already have, that they could help people survive the virus. A husband and wife professor team from LSU and Tulane working together on research about the MMR vaccine, which is measles, mumps, and rubella. Now, most children get this vaccine. It could explain why children are less impacted by COVID. Testing on mice found these kinds of live vaccines were found to boost cells' ability to fight off sepsis, and sepsis is ultimately what's causing organ problems and inflammation in many adults with COVID.
The idea behind it is that if these live attenuated vaccines are inducing the cells that will inhibit or dampen the sepsis, that gives the regular immune response time enough to get rid of the infection.
Now, this graph shows the results of the live vaccine test on mice. The top line, that shows the mice infected with sepsis that got a vaccine, and they lived. Those that didn't get the vaccine, that's the dotted line, they died within a few days. Researchers also point to what happened on the USS Roosevelt. More than 1,200 sailors got COVID. Only a few were hospitalized. One of them died. All Navy recruits get MMR vaccinations. The professors are starting a grassroots campaign for adults to get their MMR booster.
If we're right, wow, you might have the cells that would inhibit or dampen the sepsis if you ever got infected with COVID. And if we're wrong, well, okay, so you got a booster for you got a booster for measles, mumps, and rubella, and that can't hurt you at all.
This concept with live attenuated vaccines inducing this response that controls the inflammation as opposed to targeting the actual viral infection, it's going to serve as a stopgap measure until we get a real legitimate vaccine developed that's been shown to be efficacious and safe.
Now, the MMR vaccine theory is being tested on primates right now, and then there's a push for human trials. Ahead in the lineup, with rising virus cases, a concern in some areas, we're taking a look into a possible vacation tax credit. The two other reasons this concerns some health experts.
Easy, even Petey can do it.
Let's start the newsfeed. GNC is filing for Chapter 11. It has 5,200 locations across the country. The chain's parent company just pointing to COVID hurting its ability to refinance. Well, there may not be that many quarantined babies. A new study by the Brookings Institution and March of Dimes says there could be 500,000 fewer births in the U.S. as soon as next year. Researchers point to the amount of job loss as a reason why. Well, you won't see Ben & Jerry's advertising on Facebook. The company now joining a boycott with other companies like Patagonia that are saying that Facebook just isn't doing enough to stop the spread of hate online. Facebook says they are working on learning to become a force for good. Well, if another stimulus package is approved, there is a possibility that it would include a $4,000 travel tax credit. This is an effort to kickstart the hospitality industry. It would cover vacation-related expenses through 2021, and experts agree there needs to be a way to jumpstart the economy. Now, it may not be the right time to travel. Right now, we are seeing a continuation of the first wave of the virus. Then, of course, a second wave of coronavirus is expected between the end of the summer and early fall.
It'll dip down for a period of time, then it'll come up again as a resurgence, the same strain. We also have reason to believe that there'll be a mutation of this virus that will occur about the same time in the late summer, early fall.
Yeah, Dr. Anthony Fauci did say it's possible a vaccine would be available by the end of the year, but Dr. Jay Wolfson says having a vaccine doesn't automatically make the public places we go to safe again.
It would take a good year or so, if you're lucky, once you've got a vaccine produced, and a vaccine that is going to not have adverse effects on some sector of the population.
Now, it's only been 3 months since much of Europe went through its peaks of coronavirus. All right, let's get back to the lineup here. Kids need mentors, especially now as they manage the pressures of this pandemic.
If she needs someone to talk to reach out to, then I'm here for her. And that's very important. So I hope she knows that.
How Big Brothers Big Sisters is adapting to make sure kids get the support that they need.
Apply online today.
Topping the newsfeed, in Oregon County is forcing people to wear masks with some exceptions. Lincoln County says people of color don't have to. County points to concerns about racial profiling and harassment. Another major event scrapped because of coronavirus, the New York City Marathon now canceled. That was set for November 1st. A federal judge siding with the Trump administration this week on new rules on hospital bills. The rule forces hospitals to tell you the price that they've negotiated with insurers. Now, the American Hospital Association, they argued that forcing the hospitals to tell you infringes on the hospital's First Amendment rights. The protests that we've seen across the country are bringing up questions about health insurance coverage for those participating. Maya Rodriguez takes a look at how some carriers have exceptions to covering people who might get hurt during certain protests.
From small protests to large ones, Americans from coast to coast are exercising their right to free expression. But in some cases, protests that started out peaceful have turned violent.
Injured 3 people, cuts, bruises. It was bad.
A lot of rioting, just cars parked in the street were getting smashed. And then there was a brick thrown at my head.
So what happens if you are injured during civil unrest? Getting medical attention is a first priority, but will your health insurance cover you no matter what?
Yeah, you need to know what is in the policy, what is covered, and especially what is not covered.
Ray Farmer heads up the National Association of Insurance Commissioners.
If a protest happens to turn violent and include some rioting, I think that would be extremely difficult for an insurance company to prove that those injuries occurred due to an excluded act, even if the policy had such a provision.
But some policies do have exclusions, like if you take part in illegal acts or participate in civil unrest. How that's specifically defined would be up to an insurer, but it could range from vandalism and property damage to violating a community's established curfew or failing to leave an area if police order you to do so. But Farmer says there are some things a consumer can do to protect themselves in the event they are denied coverage for the treatment of injuries sustained during civil unrest. 1, ask the insurance company to point out the specific language being used to deny a claim. And 2, reach out to your state's Department of Insurance for help navigating the process.
And that's our job, is to regulate the insurance industry, but more importantly, to protect consumers.
While Farmer says there are no reports of protesters' claims being denied so far, before it even gets to that point, it's important to understand the details in your health insurance coverage.
You certainly don't want any surprises.
And from those who have been caught by surprise.
If you notice that there are riots breaking out, it may be time to go home and support from a distance.
I'm Maya Rodriguez reporting.
All right, Maya, thank you. Now, dining out could come with a few less options. Restaurants are cutting menus to help streamline operations and cut costs while trying to bounce back from coronavirus closures. Chains like Denny's, IHOP, and McDonald's have all joined the trend. The National Restaurant Association says reducing menus is one way to absorb extra expenses without passing the cost on to consumers by raising prices.
And as more Hoosiers are getting outside to enjoy the summer heat, trauma surgeons at IU Health Methodist tell us they're seeing an uptick in injuries from preventable accidents. And during the stay-at-home order, they saw a drop in these injuries, but now the number of patients heading into the ER with trauma injuries is back up to normal summer levels. The injuries they're seeing right now are the result of motorcycle crashes, falls from ladders or roofs, biking accidents, sunburns, and more. And Dr. Ashley Meager says many of these injuries are entirely preventable.
Stay off of the roof if you've been drinking. Stay off ladders if you've been drinking. Anytime alcohol is involved, it increases your risk for injury. Motorcyclists wear helmets, wear protective gear. We see a lot of unhelmeted motorcyclists come in with severe traumatic brain injuries.
Dr. Meager also says they have seen patients delay coming into the hospital ER due to COVID fears, and you should not put off being seen by a doctor. They wear proper PPE and procedures are in place to keep you safe. Kevin.
Well, another nice evening underway with a couple of exceptions. Want to show you while working outside yesterday, I had a visitor ended up with a mowing supervisor. This young lady watched me, and what's interesting, the deer don't really care when I'm on a lawnmower. They just hear the engine noise. They don't really focus on me, and they'll stay around. She was out there for about an hour as I was doing some mowing. Well, the lawn mowing would have to be done quickly. If you're in Crawfordsville, anywhere west of 231, you've got that shower sliding southeast toward you. Also in Vermilion County between Newport and Covington along Interstate 74. Southeast Indiana, Brookville Reservoir just south of there, a little downpour and some lightning, and then southern portion of Decatur County south of Greensburg. As far as the rain this evening, these will still be very isolated for the next several hours. The winds are all over the place. place, but they're generally light. We did have some gusts earlier in the day to 20 miles per hour. 84 in Evansville, 73 as you can see in Gary. They're getting cooler air off of the lake. For us during the day tomorrow, temperatures will warm in the afternoon hours with a mixture of clouds and sunshine back into the low to mid 80s. That sets the tone for what arrives Friday and over the weekend. We'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit.
Keeping the pressure off of kids right now is proving to be tough. So many have been out of school for months and have lost countless hours of time with their friends. But Chris Conti shows us how the group Big Brothers Big Sisters is helping fill that void for young people who need a role model, especially now.
A global pandemic has upended the lives of kids across the country, leaving silence in places where laughter was once heard.
Should I spray a lot of it or just a little bit?
Just coat the entire pan, the bottom and the sides.
But Jade and her friend Angela Potts have still found a way to connect.
How much are the chocolate chips are you using?
Jade is 13 years old.
It's a lot. It's really hard.
The recipe says a tablespoon of butter or margarine.
She was paired with Angela through Big Brothers Big Sisters last year. Typically, they'd be baking together in person, but these are not typical times.
Coconut.
2 months ago, we were all hanging out with each other and saying hi to each other in the hallways, and now we're all home.
When stay-at-home orders went into effect, this pair got creative. They meet once a week on Zoom and they bake. Today's recipe, Rice Krispie treats.
It keeps your mind off of everything that negative that's going on in the world.
As a mentor, these meetups give Angela a chance to check in on Jade.
If she needs someone to talk to reach out to, that I'm here for her. And that's very important. So I hope she knows that.
And now's the time that kids need the extra support while they're at home and while the world is just in chaos.
Courtney Evans is a regional program director for the nonprofit. For kids who are in vulnerable family situations, adapting these mentoring sessions in the age of COVID has been critical. Some pairs have been mailing letters to one another. There's even been virtual zoo visits.
Letting them know that they're not alone, letting them know that, we say we're all in this together, but it's really playing that out.
And these meetups are also helping with stress. For Angela and Jade, baking gives them both a chance to manage some of the pressure we're all feeling.
I hope she remembers that I'm here for her. Even in these little hour sessions that we bake together, that's pretty much how you make Rice Krispie treat.
Making the best of a situation they've been dealt with the ingredients they have. I'm Chris Conti reporting.
Chris, thank you. The organization is always looking for new Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Right now, nationwide, there's actually a waiting list of kids looking to be paired with a mentor. Most state groups do have applications available on their websites. Well, for many businesses, staying open during this pandemic was not cheap. This is according to a Wall Street Journal review. A food distributor paid $20 million for testing and plexiglass. T-Mobile spent $50 million on extra cleaning and safety gear. Walmart and 3 other big retailers put more than $3 billion into higher salaries, benefits, and other COVID-19 related measures. The extra expenses do not account for any extra revenue or lost business. All right, next in our lineup, a few people took action on an online platform they say was rampant with racism. Now, the positive change that it's already brought about and how it could inspire others to model better social behavior.